Celtics Beat is brought to you by Prize Picks.
What's up, everyone? Welcome in, new Celtics Beat. Welcome to week, whatever it is, I don't know, 3 maybe of why aren't the Celtics still playing right now? Life is miserable. Nevertheless, we're happy to have you here with us. I'm Adam Kaufman, Evan Valenti here. As always, we'll get to our very special guest, Gary Washburn, who is part of the CLNS Media Network as well, coming up in just a moment. As usual, want to remind you, ask you, plead with you, check us out on the CLNS Media YouTube page, and not just us, of course, Gary's podcast, the Big Three Pod, all of the great Celtics-themed and NBA-themed and additional podcasts that exist across CLNS. Of course, if you are listening, rate, review, subscribe, all of that to the individual podcasts, most especially to the network. Subscribe to this podcast, listen, leave a review wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, any places that I'm not familiar with, they exist. If they are, we are out there. We thank you very much. All right, let's get into it. Celtics Beat, of course, is where you are finding us, so we appreciate you hanging out here with us, and we appreciate Gary Washburn of the Boston Globe being here with us as always. Gary, how are you?
Hey guys, how's it going? Pretty good. Everything's pretty good.
Well, maybe on your end, Gary, I'm not having that much fun because I got to watch, Thunder Timberwolves, and I got to watch Knicks Pacers, and I'm not watching the Boston Celtics, who really the biggest issue, even if I put my fandom aside, just as an NBA fan, my biggest issue is, to me, outside of the Denver Nuggets, and of course that's talking purely about the West, the only team that really had a chance to put up a fight against this wagon that is the OKC Thunder this year would have been the Boston Celtics. That, to me, would have been a compelling NBA Finals. Never mind, obviously, wanting to see Boston with a chance for back-to-back and go for Banner 19 and all of that stuff. Instead, we are just playing out the string to the inevitable here. The Timberwolves, they never had a chance, and I was screaming that from before the series. That was OKC in 5, had it written all over it. And now we're getting, I guess, a somewhat entertaining Pacers and Knicks series that I have been saying from the start. I thought Indiana was going to win. They're up 3-2. We'll see how it plays out. But either way, we're just, again, waiting for the inevitable, the parade through Oklahoma City, and Mark Daignault bringing the Larry O'Brien back to his native Leominster, and all of this. Like this, the NBA Finals, I'm not sure we're going to get a good series here, and certainly these playoffs in general, with all of these gigantic 30, 40, 50-point decisions, especially in clinching games, it's been a little bit of a dud.
Oh, okay. You wanted my opinion on that?
I do.
I
give you my long ramble, and yeah, let's get your opinion.
I just think Oklahoma, it's kind of Oklahoma City's year at this point. I think they're kind of a team of destiny. It's been a while, obviously, since the rebuild in the post KD and then post Russ, and then kind of when they were pretty decent in the bubble with Chris Paul, and then they kind of blew everything up and decided to make trades and move move Paul George and take everybody's bad contracts, and obviously they took Al and they took Kimba, and they and now they're reaping the reward. So I think it's kind of their year. It's very much less compelling. I mean, I don't know how many fans are going to really watch an Indiana-Oklahoma City final, but that's where we're almost headed here. I think that there's a definite amount of disdain toward the Knicks because basically the Celtics gave away the first 2 games, and then when the Knicks beat the Celtics, they celebrated in the streets, and the fan base might be a tad bit obnoxious considering their lack of accomplishments over the last 50 years. So it's just one of those years. It's kind of a blah. It was a couple years ago it was Denver, Miami. It was just Denver 1 in 5 because the Celtics probably should have went then. It's just one of those years, and I don't know how to make it more entertaining. Like, the Spurs are going to be coming up soon, right? The Spurs are probably going to be a championship caliber team, and Indiana's still pretty young, and Oklahoma's going to come back next year. So, like, the sizzling NBA Finals matchups, man. I wish I could tell you next year it's going to be different. Next year it could be Oklahoma City and Detroit, or you know what I'm saying, or Oklahoma City and Indiana again. Like we're just here right now. It's not a great place. So and unfortunately, the Tatum injury and the Celtics now kind of having to take a step back has made it to where it's taken all the fun out of it, obviously, for Boston faithful.
Yeah, just to be clear, real quick, Ed, before you go, like, that's not a knock or a complaint about Oklahoma City. That team is young,
No, very
wildly
great.
entertaining.
They did it the right way. They acquired their superstar through trade and drafted the two other guys. They paid some dues. You know, they went to the lottery a bunch of times, and you know they were the facilitator of so many 3 or 14 trades because they kept their salary cap space alive. And then what did they did the right way when they had a chance to compete. They went. They got Caruso and they got Hardenstein. They got a guy. You know, they paid $29 million a year for Isaiah Hardenstein. You know, like they paid top dollar for that guy. That guy's not going to get 35 million somewhere. He got 29 in OKC because they were that close, and they didn't mess around and try to go to the AFC. They went bad, and then they said, okay, now we're going to get good. Like we're not going to play in the play-in 3 years in a row. We're not going to be the Atlanta Hawks. We're not going to be the Chicago Bulls. We're not going to be the Miami Heat. We're going to be bad, then okay for 1 year, then we're going to be good. So it's kind of a blueprint, and same with Indiana, of how to build a team in a smaller market. And, you know, somewhere David Stern's enjoying this because this is kind of how it was built. And then now with the second apron and teams not being able to spend a whole bunch of money and have 3 or 4 superstars, this is how we're going to see it. So, guys, welcome to NBA 2025 to probably 2040. I don't know. And that's it. Oklahoma's doing.
The fix for this is to tear up this CBA and write a new one.
Yeah,
because
I mean, the players agree to it, Evan, because you know what? They're still getting paid. It's just going to be with different teams. It's not going to be with the same team. Like that's the thing. Guys are still getting rewarded. Guys are still getting major money. I mean, Isaiah Hardenstein's making $29 million a year. I mean, it's just with Oklahoma City because the Knicks couldn't afford that. You know, it's you know, the players are still getting paid. It's just the team. The guys are going to change teams because players, and we're seeing it. What's going on with the Celtics now? That second apron is like, you know, it's like eventually you're going to have to pay. Eventually you can, you know, you're gonna have to the bill is going to come, and they're not taking a payment plan. You know, they're
or anything.
No, you can't do this. You can't do this on. You can't. The Celtics can't say we'll pay over the next 5 years. We'll get you. They're going to have to pay soon. You know, they're knocking on the door.
No layaway plan.
Yeah, there's no. This is you know, this is Joe Pesci and Goodfellas or Casino, man. He's coming for his money.
Yeah.
So
so to kind of piggyback off that for a minute though, because I've had this thought, and I've been trying to like get all my thoughts together on it, because I would argue there's like two things that generate content around the NBA. Number one is have a dynasty, right? So the Warriors were a huge content machine for years. LeBron is his own separate content machine. Michael Jordan, his own separate content machine. The Lakers, right? Lakers, because they're in LA, they have all the eyes, all that stuff. They're a content machine. So when you have dynasties, it's actually good for the league because people can develop their own rivalries and hatred and dislike of, you know, we don't like the Miami Heat because LeBron went there and they're, you know, that's unfair for the league, whatever. But it brought in viewers, right? Mm-hmm. So there's that side of things. And then there's this player movement transaction stuff that, look, Kaufman, a lot of times our best podcasts in terms of ratings get the most views because there's a crazy trade in the NBA when we all react to it.
Like, it's free agency shows, it's trade deadline shows, it's, you know, random, like, Celtics get Kyrie Irving in August. Yeah, for sure.
Right. So, as I've mentioned in a few different text messages to people, I think the NBA has gone with this, and I don't know if they did this knowingly or not. They've gone with this. Let's just lean into this player movement thing because I agree with Gary. People are going to get paid. They're just going to get paid by different teams, and the player movement stuff generates a whole lot of content. But at the end of the day, I don't know if this is actually good for the league or not. Is it better to have teams with continuity that develop chemistry and memories and moments, or is it better to have all these moving parts all the time where we have a different champion every single year? Denver, the Celtics, now the Thunder probably, and then a new team next year. Like, I don't know what's better for the NBA. Gary, where are you at with this?
I mean, I think we all would like for players to stay with their respective teams and be able to spend their careers there, and then teams to be able to astutely build teams through the draft or through free agency or through just the being managed well. I think the one thing I'd want to see, and I think we all would like to see, is the well-managed teams being able to succeed and not being dragged down by the ineptitude of the poorly managed teams. So when they went into this last CBA, the teams like the Sacramentos and the San Antonios and the Charlottes and the Minnesotas and the Atlantas probably went into these meetings, the owners' meetings, and just said they were tired of Lakeup and Goober and Golden State spending all that money and winning, right? But they were well managed. The best teams are well managed. Like the worst teams aren't. That's baseball, that's football, that's basketball, right? Like the best teams are well managed. Now, sometimes the unfortunate part is you can have especially in baseball, you can have a really well managed team, but they just don't have the guns to they can get to the playoffs, but they'll never win a World Series. They can win a wild card, but they'll never, they can be the Kansas City Royals. They can be a competitive team in a smaller market, but yet they face the Dodgers or a big market team and they just don't have the talent or it's, to win a 7-game series. They can win a game here or two, but to me, I think the thing in basketball is that we're just going through this play, like the whole thing with, okay, where's Giannis going to go? Giannis to the Celtics. Like, okay, it's giving me a headache. And unfortunately, the small market owners ruled in this CBA. So they have the second apron and the Warriors can't spend a whole bunch of money, right? The Celtics can't spend a whole bunch of money as they want to, even if the new ownership was like, okay, I'll just deal with the luxury taxes. But now it's not only the luxury taxes, it's all the constraints for the second apron. You can't aggregate players in the trade. You can't use your mid-level. Like they're just cutting all your they're cutting your arms off in order to have. And the Celtics did it the right way. They drafted well with Tatum and Brown. They made a huge trade. Ainge set them up with the Nets trade. Their best two players are drafted and cultivated. One of their best other players, sixth man of the year, drafted, cultivated. They acquired Derek White through trade. Like they've not done this. Like we're gonna go pay a guy $50 million and bring him in. Like even I mean, the Knicks. If you really, the Knicks, crazily made that Mikal Bridges trade, but they took Brunson when he was just a kind of a guy in Dallas and said, we're going to overpay you and give you a shot. And look how it's turned out. They acquired Towns. Like they've Anunoby, they traded for him from Toronto. Like they've built teams that, they were smartly managed for once, right? The Knicks have always been a team with Isaiah Thomas and Phil Jackson that you're just sort of like, yeah, boy, did they make a mistake there? Why is this, why did they pay Joakim Noah $72 million over 4 years, the last years of his career, right? But now you want the best managed teams to be able to succeed. And with this new second apron, that's not going to be the case. It's going to give the Charlottes and it's going to give teams that are just inept, Sacramento's and teams that are not managed well. That's the problem, is that the worst, there's very few teams, guys, who are like, boy, they do everything right. They just can't get ahead. Like sure. Most of the bad teams are badly managed. They're badly coached. You know what I'm saying? Like we look at Charlotte. How many lottery picks are you going to give Charlotte? And they're not even touching the playoffs. Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, like all these guys that coming in and they just and they're still 28 wins. Like it's pathetic. Washington, right? Washington's how many blowups have they had the team with?
Did Johnny Davis even ever play? He was picked in the top 10.
Yes, and he went to now like the Wizards basically he's like he was in the G League playoffs playing against Maine, I think with the Knicks G League team. Like what a bust, right? Rui Hachimura, 8th overall, becomes like the 8th guy. Like that's a poorly managed team, bad drafts, like things like that. So it's like you would like to see the best man. The sad part about this whole Celtic dismantling is it's not because of anything besides the apron. It's not because guys are getting old. It's not because, this guy is overpaid. It's because, we just have so much limitations, and now your best player is out for probably most, if not all, of next year. So we might as well speed this up. So it's sort of annoying. It's angering for guys like us who cover the league and follow the league because you want to see the best managed teams. We already have in the NBA, you already have essentially a salary cap. It's not baseball. So you don't have the Pirates and the Marlins or whatever, then the Yankees, the Dodgers. You literally have everybody about paying the same, but there's owners who are notoriously cheap, who don't want to spend money, and then who spend their money poorly. And it's like, and they're being, we can go, like now Charlotte or all these teams have a fair chance. Well, manage yourself well, and you would have a fair chance. Look how poorly managed Chicago is. Like, just like, you just look at these teams and like, no, I don't want them to have a fair shot if they're not better managed. Like, but here we are.
I think part of I don't know if this was at all in any way deliberate, or if this is just kind of, some of the fallout of the new CBA 2 and what you're talking about, the players bouncing around. I mean, certainly the three of us grew up in an era where, you really appreciate whether it's player loyalty or team loyalty or just a guy who plays, like a Dirk, a Duncan, a Kobe, like, what Pierce wanted to be, like all of these guys who, spend their careers with one team that obviously, I mean, that's few, if ever, any great players are ever going to do that again. Simply, like not to scare people about Jason Tatum, but, like these things, they don't generally end that way anymore. You might be remembered for a certain team. Like how many people can remember, Patrick Ewing playing in Seattle or Hakeem Olajuwon playing in Toronto or something, but like these things do happen more often than not. And now, like you're saying, seemingly more and more, are you're going to have like the Russell Westbrook's bouncing around, Luka got moved, Kevin Durant, how many teams is he going to be on by the end? Kyrie Irving, same story, that type of thing. I wonder if some of that comes back to, like, if the league wants that to some degree. Like I've got young kids, not even teenagers, and there are, you try and raise them right, Gary, right? Like you better be Celtics fans, but there are, like, among their crew, there's a decreasing number of young fans today, I think, who root for the laundry versus the player. Like one of my kids, 10-year-old, big Luka fan, had his Mavericks jersey, gets traded to the Lakers, says, I want a Luka Lakers jersey. And it's like, over my dead body, are you getting a Luka Lakers jersey? Like, that's not going to happen. But that's the thing. Like these guys, they love the player now, and they follow the player around more than it is, loving the team. And this is the CBA in many ways, again, whether deliberate or not, has caused this. And I hate it.
You should hate it. I mean, I think the international flavor too, because the international fans tend to love players. They tend to love players who come to their country and advertise their shoe, or the China and Japan, and come over there and make appearances, and they buy their jerseys. And right, player loyalty is just not what it was. And even the players who do want to be loyal, it's a heavy price to be loyal, to stay with your respective team. You have to, probably take a little less money, and two, you have to play at a high level. You have to be a Steph Curry to retire a Warrior, right? Klay Thompson didn't, basically, right? Klay Thompson wanted to But the Warriors are like, this is our salary. This is what we got for you. You're not what you once were. And then he goes and, finishes his career, or, however long he plays in Dallas. It doesn't look good. And of course, he'll come back to Golden State. He'll have his number retired, and all those guys will be there at the ceremony and all that. But it's still like not quite the same as Steph, right? And the hope is in Boston that Tatum and Brown will finish their careers in Boston. Don't know if that's going to happen, right? And because when guys are making,
we're not sure Brown's going to be on the team next year.
Well, guys are making essentially like $63 million in the final year of their contract at age 34. Is that conducive to have a 34-year-old on your team making $63 million? And then what happens if he wants to come back? Is he going to say, "Hey, I'll take 20"? We've paid our superstars so much that when they're not superstars anymore, they eventually have to change teams, because is Jaylen or Jason at 37, they're going to want to make LeBron money. And LeBron is pretty much played a good soldier. I'll take about 50. Okay. I don't want to be the highest paid player in the league, but give me 50 and I'm good. Thanks, LeBron. Here's 50 million. Because really he's underpaid, wouldn't you say? For what he brings to the Lakers, he's essentially underpaid, and he's making 50.
Sure.
52. And he's not the highest paid player in the league. And he could say, I should be the highest paid player in the damn league. And he's got 20 years under his belt. So he's got all the what do you call it? The union? He's fully union.
Incentives of staying in the year. Yeah,
he's got his NBA Social Security check is going to be really good, right?
Yeah,
all his time served, all he's got all of it. He's hit
got
all
tenure, sure.
Tenure. He got some guys have to be 10 years in the league to get full medical benefits and all that. LeBron's got full medical benefits for everybody, right? Bronny's got full medical benefits. He's got full, and Bronny, regardless of what Bronny does, right? Because of LeBron. So what we've created is a salary structure that just does not encourage teams to keep their players unless they do it Al Horford and decide, I'll take 10. But, obviously Al was a max guy at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the perfect scenario. But Tatum ain't playing nowhere for $10 million a year. Hell no. After making 60, he's gonna retire, or you know what I'm saying? Who's gonna do that? You gotta really love the game to be Vince Carter, right? You gotta really love the game to play to your and accept that
even Carmelo couldn't quite get there.
Yeah, the league is gonna say we can't afford to pay you what you're worth. Or you've got to be a specialized case like LeBron. So we'll see how it all works out with the generation of players, because KD is in the final year of his deal. He makes $54 million. What happens in KD will be 37 in September. Okay. So what happens next year when he wants to come back? Is he going to make 54? Is he going to make 25? Is he going to make 30? Who's going to pay KD until he's 40? And who's going to pay him 54?
No.
That induces these our favorite players and our kids' favorite players to change teams. This is what happens. You wanted to pay the players this exorbitant amount of money. And I'm not saying they shouldn't make it. They should, but you're gonna have. Look at Aaron Rodgers in football. Just the Packers said, we're not paying you. We got someone younger, deuces. And now he's a carpetbagger, right? He's probably, who knows if he's going to go to the Steelers or whatever. But he's going to the Jets. This is somebody's all-time favorite player who will go back to Green Bay and have his 12 retired and all that. He's Brett Favre again. Remember, Brett Favre went to the Jets.
He's riding the playbook.
Yeah, went to the Jets, went to the Vikings,
Watch out, Mississippi.
Yeah, so when yeah, boy, I think that was interesting. So yeah, don't let them come down. Don't let them go down south. So to me, that's kind of where we're at in professional sports. That's where we're at because our favorite players, the guys, and they'll like Paul went to the Wizards. Remember, when he said I called game. He had a great memo, that he went to the Clippers. I mean, Nets after that, Nets, Wizards, Clippers. But he's, and he came back and had his number retired. But unfortunately, our favorite players are not going to stay in the same team.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to get used. And guys make too much money to retire unless they physically can't. They make too much money to retire at 34.
But doesn't like sort of going back to my poorly articulated point, doesn't it seem like the league wants this? Like for branding purposes, it wants to lean into the player more than the laundry?
I thought that was the case in the 90s when they made the horrible choice to go with, and I don't know how you guys feel, but when they made everybody wear their own jersey for the All-Star game, that was freaking horrible to me.
Awful.
And I know kids are like, let's go back to that. No, let's not go back to that.
Major League Baseball made that mistake a number of times too.
I used to love, see, I'm a hypocrite. I used to freaking love watching the All-Star game, and you see the dude in the Expos jersey next to, like, when they wore, especially the guys who went, like, when the team was on the road, and you would just see all those cool road jerseys, and I would love that. I hate the same uniform in baseball, but I love it in basketball. I don't know why, but
it's all good.
Yeah, I hate All-Star games with the American League. No, it's just,
Well, part of that is probably, and I get where you're coming from. I guess I don't hate it as much as I indicate.
I don't like it.
But part of that is probably like in baseball, there's no confusion. You're batting or you're in the field. If you got 10 different jerseys
on,
on a basketball court, like
10 different colors, because everybody's got a damn different shade of red, black, like how many different shades of green are the Celtics wearing? I mean, I could imagine Red Auerbach looking in over the last 10 years and seeing how many freaking bad Celtic uniforms. Remember those gray ones with the
gray ones were the worst ones.
Well, I mean, they've had like the cursive one, the Christmas Day cursive. Celtic, like there's something about tradition, and damn it, let's get back to it a little bit. An alternate jersey, yes. 7 alternate jerseys, no. And so to me, I just think you're right, Adam. I think the league is kind of preaching individuality like it did in the late 90s. But I just think that's the international flavor too, because they're not rooting for teams. They're rooting for players, and guys are making appearances over there and signing autographs and selling millions of shoes in Japan and in China and in other parts of Europe, right? So I do think the league is okay with this player movement, but I think the players also signed off on this because when you sign off on the CBA, you knew that a lot of your veteran players are going to have to eventually change teams to get the money, because look at what happened. Like Clay was a free agent in Golden State. He looked at what the Warriors paid Draymond, which was 5 years, 125 or something like that, and then said, well, I should at least get that. Look at what that dude's done recently, right? The whole thing with Jordan Poole and all that stuff, and the 35 technicals and injections and flagrants. And then I think what the Warriors said, like, okay, we could give you 2 and 48. And he's like, 2? And this is a guy coming off a torn Achilles and a torn ACL. And what does Dallas do? Give him another year, give him less money, more security, and now he's a Maverick. So that's what's going to happen with the restrictions of free agency and things like that. In the second, like, it's hard. Like, it's hard to envision guys staying with the same team. But you're right, Adam. I think the NBA is encouraging the individuality, and we're going to have to deal with this. And teams like the Celtics are going to have to deal with constantly changing players, and even though they might be completely want a player to stay, he can't.
This is a bummer because we're coming off, just to bring it back to the Celtics for a minute, like we're coming off this week of Jaylen Brown doing his pop-up 741 shop. He's going around to high schools in the area, trying to immerse himself more in the community. He's been trying to, do that, I think, periodically throughout the years he's been here. But this year has been a real big investment back into Boston, showing his face a little bit more during the summertime because he usually goes away internationally, goes to Paris and Egypt and everywhere else. This year he's staying in Boston and trying to, really establish his roots here. And like one of the biggest, again, we talk about the content machine. Gary, you've seen them all over the place. How many different Jaylen Brown trades are there right now? There's a cajillion of them. NBC Sports Boston's got a new one every single day of like, oh, what if Jaylen went to San Antonio, or what if he went to Milwaukee for Giannis? It's like this guy's like actually made a huge impact on people who live in Boston, like with the MIT lab and speaking at Harvard.
Agreed.
Like he's
but
been
you know what, Evan? This is the problem with that, Evan, and I'll tell you this. The problem is that every freaking fan thinks they're a junior GM. And that's the problem. And these damn
trade machine.
And these damn trade machines. So of course, some guy in his basement is looking at Jaylen Brown trade possibilities. Oh, we can the Celtics can trade Jaylen for Giannis and Brook Lopez, like you can give Brook Lopez a sign and trade. Like it's like everybody's a junior GM. Everybody knows how to do NBA jobs better than the people who actually do them. That's what we've created with sports fandom. And I don't know if it's like that as much in baseball, where people are telling, were there 5 million Mookie Betts trades before Mookie was actually traded to the Dodgers? Like, I don't know if that's like that. Like, I don't see Patrick Mahomes trade rumors constantly, or the only thing was Dak Prescott, is he going to sign an extension? Like, that was a talk for 2 years, right? But basketball seems to be the sport that literally everybody's a junior GM. Everybody is an analytical expert. Everybody can tell you what exactly lineups need to be played. They can tell Mazzulla how to do his job more than I can, because I don't know, of course, I don't know what I'm talking about. But the guy at home can, and it's great to have interest in the game, but I just think that's what leads, like you said, Evan, to like the 17 Jaylen Brown trade possibilities, because everybody's an expert. Then there's now the new community of cap experts, guys who study the cap and to tell you what the cap is going to do with the second apron. So everybody is a junior GM in the league, in the NBA now. That's probably one of the major issues and why this happens, and guys don't stay, and guys, because the rumors come and we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if teams are going to, like, what's going to happen with Jaylen. I just think people look at his salary, and he happened to hit the coals at the right time, right, in terms of being the highest paid player in the league for a while, because he hit free agency. And now it's like, well, they got to get rid of him eventually, right? Like, no, they don't. But you guys see it. I hate the choose one. Akeem, Ewing, Kareem. Like, no, they all played. Why do I have to choose one? Like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do I have to choose? Tatum.
You don't want to weigh in on the
league debate. I'm tired of that. Choose one. One's got to start, bench, release. Like, no. No, I don't want to do that. Like, but that's the whole thing. Like, that's where we're at. These websites making up, coming up with these damn, points of debate. It's guys, the debate shows. And that spread into social media. Now everybody has their own everybody wants to be on First Take. Everybody wants to debate everything when it comes to the game. Jaylen, how good is Jason? What would happen? Who would you choose first, Jason or Edwards? Like, it's just like, none of this is going to happen. Like, the previous generations seem to embrace that there was multiple NBA stars. We want our NBA stars to stand on some mountain and have some freaking fight to the death till one of them raises up his sword, whoever it is, it's Giannis or SGA, I am the king of the NBA. Like, we want our stars to literally kill each other. And it's like, like some medieval movie, man. Like, it's just
right out of Wakanda.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan against Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah. Like, with swords. You couldn't use guns. It had to be swords, right? Oh, like, that's what we want. We can't accept that there's like multiple guys in the NBA who are pretty freaking good. Like, let's just accept it.
Yeah.
There's 7 to 8 guys who are who are great Hall of Fame. There's 20 guys in the league right now, if not more, who are eventually going to the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Let's accept that. I don't remember.
Celebrated, not even accepted. It should be celebrated.
Yes, I don't remember. Like, the only thing, I was obviously was Magic Bird because that was a rivalry all the way from college. I just don't remember people saying, like, choose one, Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan. Like, no. Like, Michael's this guy. Like, I'm saying, like, we just embraced our stars. It was fun to have multiple guys who were good. There was certain levels of good. There was greatness that, Jordan, absolutely the best player you've ever seen. And there was Magic, probably the best point guard we've ever seen, especially at 6'9". But we didn't add, it's like we didn't go until, like, we didn't ask Larry Bird to constantly defend the fact that he was like one of the great players of all time. We just kind of knew it. And then, well, such and such could beat Larry Bird. Like, okay, like, you want to give me a headache here? Like, it's just,
I don't know, but not like we were, around for it. But like, there was Russell versus Wilt. Like,
those were clashing on the floor. Like I said, there was Magic Bird, Russell, Wilt. The rivalries are great. It's just when we're telling guys that one guy's got to be the best and the rest are chumps.
Yeah, it's
like American Idol. Like, I remember like having people watch American Idol and thinking like the loser was going to literally go to the guillotine. The loser of American Idol is probably going to get a record contract too. Like, chill on the, like, oh my God, he lost. No, literally Capitol Records just calling him right now. Like the second best singer on American Idol is generally had a great career. There's plenty of people who never won American Idol who were multi-platinum sellers, right? So, but that's like everything's American Idol now. Like, the winner is the king forever. The second place gets his head cut off. And what I'm saying? Like, no, like we've got to celebrate stardom. We've got to celebrate that the NBA has never been more talented. Do guys work as hard as they did 25 years ago? Maybe not. Do they have more like coaches? Do they have, they have 7 or 8 coaches to work? Yes. They have all the amenities to work harder. Do guys always work harder? Did Bird and McHale and those guys work harder? You could probably say in many cases, yes. But the NBA has never been more talented, and we're fighting that. We don't celebrate it. We literally want these guys to go to war with each other.
Have any parting thoughts? I know we got to wrap here in a minute, but obviously I've thoroughly enjoyed this show, but it's so different than what we've done the last couple of weeks where it's, who's going to be traded? What's going to happen to this roster? Is Jaylen gone? Is Porzingis, Holiday? Are they definitely leaving? Is Hauser on his way out the door? At reason number 17 why Missoula apparently sucks. Like, it's the debrief of all of that stuff. I mean, this, honestly, Gary, this show, I don't know how it's compared to like some of the shows that you've been doing lately, but it's just been a refreshing, fun conversation as opposed to like bemoaning what the offseason is going to look like. But yeah, man, I won't scratch the itch right now because enough places are doing it. But that whole feeding into your point of like everyone wants to have that debate about face of the league and like it's egregious. Like, it's not even the obvious, like, all right, if we're going to sit here and debate between Shea, the MVP, or Jokic, obviously best player in the world in my mind, Giannis and what he's still capable of, do we want to put Tatum when healthy into that conversation versus like all of the, like, Jay Williams on ESPN saying it's Halliburton, and then he goes out and does what he does in game 5,
8 points,
or like Anthony Edwards, please, like, win something before we can even, like, all these Michael Jordan comparisons. Holy crap. Like,
then he says, I'm not hurt. Hurt's not a good word. Like, I'm excited after losing in the conference finals for the second consecutive year. Yeah, I mean,
in the conference finals. Never mind lose it.
Welcome to NBA 2025, where
gentleman sweep in both of them and getting
where your cornerstone says he's not hurt. Yeah, just imagine if your cornerstone player, if Jordan, if Bird, if those guys had said that they were not hurt by getting thumped from the conference finals. When the 80, I mean, I just imagine the 80 Celtics with first year Larry Bird had lost to the Sixers, and Bird said, "I'm not hurt. I'm excited. I'm 23. I still got plenty." Like, imagine if he had said that. And Bird was, what, 24 and on that team?
Yeah.
And instead of saying, I'm sick of losing these, I'm not losing these bastards again. You know, they beat us, but we got to get better, or whatever the case might be. And they end up obviously winning it next year in 81. Let's imagine, but this is kind of how we have it. Like, this is, and then we did Netflix did a big documentary on Anthony Edwards, we're part of the starting five. I mean, this is what we have. And so, like, unfortunately, the unfortunate part of the sport now is some of these guys make so much money, it affects their desire to win, and it affects their desire to be great, because they're already
good. Either way,
they're already making generational wealth. Like, guys are making $25 million a year who are seventh men, right? Like,
you mentioned Hartenstein, $30 million.
$30 million a year to be the seventh best player on your team. Average, if you throw in the starting five and you throw in Caruso, and you might even put Kaysen Wallace,
sure,
or whatever, like 6, 7, and he's making 30 large. So
I mean, back in the day, Gary, like, and it's never going to go back to this. I'm not saying you should go back to this, but just for case in point, like, you're, and this is going years back, obviously decades back, but your post-career livelihood, because you didn't make enough as a player, your post-career livelihood, speaking appearances and endorsements and autograph signings, it was all dependent upon how good you were. Like that, like win and winning, like how many rings you got, like that stuff mattered. And now it matters in legacy conversation and things like that. But ultimately, it doesn't even necessarily, like Carmelo Anthony, who I love, first ballot Hall of Famer, but he never won a championship. Like, like that stuff at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter as much as it once did.
Agreed. I mean, and covering the league for a long time, the one thing you would see is former players who needed to work after their career was over. So they're literally coaching in the G League. I mean, they're going back to what they never did, was like minor league basketball. Like, a lot of these guys went from college to the pros, and then, they played 12 years in the league. And then now the NBA's like, you can come back, but we're going to need you to coach at, Rio Grande Valley and be an assistant on a G League team. So you're taking buses. Like, you're literally to get over to maybe be the second row assistant. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and these are guys who had solid, good, strong NBA careers, but they didn't make enough money to live generationally, or they didn't invest their money correctly, or whatever the case might have been. But now a lot of these guys, they don't have to worry about post-retirement if they invest well, obviously. But you're right. Like, the desire from a lot of guys is still there. The desire to work, to be great, to be one of the best, because the criticism is higher. Like, guys are getting hammered constantly every day on social media for, Halliburton's taking a beating today. And whoever wins game 6,
beating every day, it seems like it's getting a little ridiculous to me.
Yeah,
poor guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's, but some guys, and I covered guys, and not necessarily with the Celtics, but covered guys who got the mid-level, and they were good with that. They were like, I don't need to get better. I'm making, and one guy knew, he played a bit for the Celtics, but he got 3 years, $19 million. He worked his butt off, got his mid-level, and that was it. Operation shutdown, as our friend Derek Bell said. Or look at the guys, and I know, like, we're wrapping up here. Go back to 2016 and look at all those guys who signed. Remember, the league wanted to smooth out the cap and gradually increase the money paid to players. The damn players said, no, we want all our money now. And so everybody who was a free agent in 2016 got paid big. Evan Turner. Whatever happened to Evan? Five and 70
podcast now.
5-70 from Portland. He retired way before he probably should have because he got paid. Joakim Noah, Luol Deng, Timothy Mozgov. Look at what happened to all those guys. Kit Bazemore. Look at all those guys who signed 4-year, $72 million deals, or 5 and 75 or 5 and 80 during the 16, and what happened to their careers?
What was that Bogan's contract?
I forgot what Bogan signed for. You're right. I forgot about that.
I gotta look that one. That gift of a contract he got.
But it's like none of those guys, besides maybe Bazemore, finished out their deals. They were done before their deals were up. They said, they were all 29, 31, whatever, right? Getting their last good contracts. They cashed in and said, I'm done.
Jaylen Parsons got 4 years, $98.5 million.
Yeah, Chandler Parsons.
Yeah,
he never finished that deal.
Listen to this one. Listen to this one quick. Keith Bogan's in his career. Start out with the Magic, 2 for less than $1 million. Then he goes to who the hell was it? Doesn't matter. 1 for less than $1 million. Then he went to the Magic, 3 for 7.5 during, prime years, if you will. Spurs, 1 for 1. Bulls, 1 for 3.3. Bulls again, 1 for less than 1. Nets, 1 for 100,000. Is that even possible? And then then Nets again following year, 1 for 1.2, and then swoop in the Celtics in the sign and trade, 3 for 15.7.
Tyler Johnson got the best one, 4 years, $50 million.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't even pick it up.
Guys got paid. And look at that class and look at and it's unfortunate, but some we're dealing with generational wealth now. So these guys don't have to want they can just go, you know what? I got other interests. I can spend this NBA contract. This is not the NFL. If there's an NFL, these guys will get a big signing bonus. The league cuts them and they're not getting paid again. But the NBA, these contracts are guaranteed, and these guys turned in their chips. They're good. I mean, Evan Turner, I thought, was a pretty damn good player at his best. And he just decided after that Portland deal, he retired. Why am I working? I got enough money to invest. I got enough money to live on to where
for a second.
Huh?
He coached for a second.
Yeah. A hot minute. And then start podcasting and just hanging out. Now I don't know what he does now. Nothing I like Evan. He's a good guy. But it's to me, that's kind of what we're dealing with the league, where there's some guys that just don't want it. And there's enough money in their hand to where it's if I worked really hard, I could probably make 50 million, but 30's okay. So that's where we are. And unfortunately, like you said, Adam, the league is, we're pushing that, man. We're pushing these guys, and the team element and the team aspect of it. When guys are changing teams all the time, like you said, you look at Kevin Durant. He went from the Thunder, the Warriors, to Brooklyn, now to Phoenix. Now he's probably going to, play his last year, next year at $54 million somewhere else.
Yep.
And then he's going to be on his 4th team. Look at Westbrook. Westbrook's going right to the Hall of Fame. The 4-year, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Look at Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
Look at Carmelo. These guys, Dwight, we're like, he won a championship. Woohoo! And you're like, oh, wait a minute, he was on the bubble Lakers team. Yep. Dwight Howard's an NBA champion. It's hard.
Once again, for those of you listening to this show, we ask that you subscribe to the podcast wherever you find your podcast. Leave a review. For those watching on the show's CLNS YouTube page, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the entire YouTube channel. Check out shows like this one, certainly like Gary's, the Big Three podcast with Sherrod and Kwani, and other great Celtics content as well. Make sure you turn on your notifications so you know the instant a new video drops. But Gary, like I said, this was a ton of fun. We thank you for hopping on with us, obviously. And, don't be a stranger. We'll bug you again soon before the season comes around. I'm sure we'll be back next week to tell you all the different reasons why the Thunder are going to beat the Pacers in 5 or 6 and what probably won't be an overly compelling NBA Finals. But, what can I say? We'll find something else Celtics related to get into. But Gary, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Again, Gary Washburn of the Boston Globe. For Evan, I am Adam. We thank you, and we'll talk to you again next week.